What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we have some really big news coming out of Valorant, and that is the Valorant patch notes for patch 1.07 have dropped. This is actually a bigger patch than some of the previous ones. We have a lot going on. We have a bunch of agent changes. We have some gun changes. We have some really exciting stuff to talk about in this video today, so definitely stick around to the end so you don't miss out on any of that. Before we get into today's video, I just want to mention real quick, if you're not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. Helps you guys stay up to date on all the latest content, and obviously helps me out a ton as well. With that being said, here we go. Getting right into today's video. Again, the patch 1.07 patch notes. As you can see here on the screen, we have 5 agent changes, 4 gun changes. We've hit impact marker effects changes, and we have match remake, which is really new and exciting. And right now we're just going to be breaking down all the changes and everything that is going on. So you guys know what's going on in this new patch. So when you jump into that first game in patch 1.07, you know what's going on. You're ready to, ready to win, ready to go. So here we go. First up, the agent change is going to be Sage. Her heal is being reduced from 100 over 5 seconds to 60 over 5 seconds, and her self heal is being nerfed even further from 100 over 5 seconds to 60 over 10 seconds. I do think this is a good change. I think obviously your heal is very strong, and I think they definitely need to reduce the self heal more so than the normal heal. But going from 100 to 60 shouldn't be that big of a deal, because obviously you was never 100. You're never healing anyone for 100, so you're usually healing them for some amount below 100. So sometimes this won't even be a nerf, but it will be a nerf on the self heal, getting that health over 10 seconds. Because Sage is able to provide so much utility and stuff from being alive. I don't know if she should necessarily be able to heal herself a ton as well to keep herself alive, because she is supposed to be that supportive style character. But yeah, these are some interesting nerfs. She's been one of the strongest agents in the game for pretty much the whole life of the game. So I think some nerfs are definitely they were definitely due. Slow orb, the size is reduced by 30%. Obviously, she has a ton of zone control and stuff. That's going to reduce that a little bit. And the barrier orb, the cost is going from 400 to 300. But also, the wall used to form just right away full HP, but now it's going to be forming at 400 HP, and after a 3-second delay, the wall is going to fortify itself to 800 HP, which is another interesting change. They want to reduce kind of that just reactive wall where you can see something happening and then throw the wall up and it's instantly super strong. They want the wall to be a little have some thought into it beforehand, and if you can't get it up beforehand, then obviously it's going to be a little easier to punish. But I think reducing it from 400 to 300 is actually a really nice change, because man, 400 for that ability, it's really good and it's really strong, but it just sucks trying to buy sometimes a Sage when you have to factor in the 400 that you're going to need for your barrier all the time, and then that's it ends up being an expensive agent to play. Next up, we have Killjoy. Her Nano Swarm is going to add a brief wind-up before damage begins. I think that's definitely needed. It's a huge quality of life change. DPS reduced from 60 to 40. And again, another great change. And then visual effects have been added to make it easier to spot the grenade on the ground. And the stealth audio range has been slightly increased. I think everyone is going to be really happy with all 3 of these changes. And then some other little stuff. The turret is no longer revealed by Sova's recon bolt. That's good. It was like being seen through walls and stuff. I think it should still be seen though, just not through walls. So I don't know if I love that change. And then more effectively shoots at an enemy's last known location. So it's just a little kind of like bug fix and stuff. Next up, we have Viper. Toxic Screen can now be placed during the buy phase of rounds through spawn barriers, and Toxic Screen now goes up faster along its full length once it starts to form. So they want Viper to be able to throw her wall and then put it up and then be able to like run over to the other side too, because like right now, obviously if Viper puts up her wall from A to B and then turns it on, they know that Viper's at A, but now she can throw it up, turn it on, and then she can run away and she could be at A or B. So it does add a little bit of like mystery and stuff, which is obviously going to be a buff for Viper overall. Decay on all smoke abilities no longer affects allies. I think that just makes sense. And then Viper's Pit is now shown on her team's minimap when deployed. I think that's just a big quality of life thing. Shouldn't be too much of a buff or nerf. So overall, Viper getting a very slight buff. I don't think that should change her win rate or anything too much. Next up, we have Breach. Breach is Flashpoint. Off-screen flashes now match behavior of other flashes in the game and apply a minimum amount of flash more aggressively. Charges are being increased from 2 to 3. That's a huge change. And reduce wind-up time from 0.6 to 0.5 seconds. That doesn't sound huge, but obviously that'll just make it land more often. It'll make it be a little bit better. But this is big. Charges being increased from 2 to 3. Rolling Thunder, the detonation delay between blasts is decreased from 0.3 to 0.255. And then concussion now de-scopes players and prevents rescoping. That's actually pretty interesting. That could be really, really useful in a lot of situations. And the final agent getting some changes is Sova. They've updated the physics on Sova's cape so it should wiggle outside his hitbox less frequently, and polish work on Sova's 1P hands to bring them up to the fidelity bar of the rest of our agents. So not really even any balance changes to Sova. I mean, this one could be like very, very situational. But yeah, overall, those are the 4 agent changes. We got nothing too massive. I mean, Breach, that stuff's pretty big. Killjoy, that'll actually be a lot nicer to play against. Sage is kind of getting changed the most, and pretty overall pretty massive nerfs to Sage. I still think she's gonna be really good, and I still think people would really love to have her on the team. Killjoy, those are pretty big nerfs, but Viper and Sova not really getting changed at all. Next up, we have some weapon updates. All shotguns, when getting headshot by a shotgun, the aim punch will be lower than all their weapons. I think that makes sense. They have the biggest radius. Obviously, they have the biggest area. All shotguns tagging tuned for target beyond 10 meters. Hitting an enemy past 10 meters will apply a different tagging value to them instead of standard tagging. The new tagging is at 30% slow for half a second on a smooth curve going back to normal speed. And then we have a Shorty nerf. The first fall off range is reduced from 9 meters to 7 meters. And then updated the headshot multiplier from 3 times to 2 times. So those are pretty big nerfs to the Shorty. Obviously, Shorty was insane value being as good as it was from the range that it was. And obviously, headshots so good for 200. So I do think the Shorty needed some nerfs. This is pretty crazy, though. It's definitely going to make it work. Shorty still be decent, though, especially for the price. That price is just so attractive. The Judge nerf price increased from 1,500 to 1,600. Obviously, that's going to hit it a little bit. It's going to make it just situationally not as good. Judge will still be good, though. You know, the damage is still going to be there. It's still going to be useful. It's still going to be very, very good, especially depending on what agent you are. But it should make it a little less appealing being 100 more. And then finally, we have a Vandal buff. Something needs to be done about the Vandal and Phantom. Phantom just so clearly outclasses the Vandal. So they're going to be increasing the firing rate and increasing the damage from 39 to 40. I don't think this makes the Vandal even. I don't think it makes it better than the Phantom. I don't think it makes it even with the Phantom. So I do think this is weird. I think they're going to need to do something to nerf the Phantom a little bit. Because I still think, obviously, I don't know exactly how these buffs are going to play out, or if there's some math or something that I'm missing. But I still think the Phantom is going to be better than the Vandal in like 99% of situations still, even after these changes. So I don't think this is going to do a ton, but I'll definitely be looking out for that. Next up, we have the Hit Impact VFX update. So the server hit effects confirmed will now spawn at the location of the hit on the character and stay attached to that position. Previously, it spawned at the game space location and stayed there. An additional client predicted small VFX. Kind of just a lot of wordy nonsense going on here. Not nonsense, but just a lot of words and stuff. I don't want to bore you guys just reading through that. So they've made some small adjustments to the effects to try and improve hit registration clarity. So hopefully that should be good. We'll have to just try that one out and see. I mean, I can't just read it and take their word for it. As far as competitive updates, remaking, this is massive. When a match begins with 45 or more lopsided teams, players will now have the option to end the game they're in and queue for a new one. If a player's disconnected at the start of the match, beginning of the buy phase, through the entire first round, a remake call may be triggered. This is so nice. It's going to be so huge. I don't know about you guys, but I seem to always have AFKs in my game. That's the one thing that I find super frustrating about this game. They don't punish AFKs hard enough, and they do punish your team super hard. So I cannot wait for remakes. I think it will be really awesome. And then they just have a ton of quality of life stuff, some bug fixes. You guys should check that out if you're interested in that. Definitely check out the whole patch notes if there's anything else you guys want to read a little bit more into, because there's a ton of great information and like little blurbs and stuff that Riot puts in. But yeah, pretty much it for this video today, guys. This was the Valorant patch notes 1.07 breakdown, my thoughts and opinions and everything. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What change are you most excited from this patch? Which change do you love? Which change do you hate? Anything, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Definitely subscribe to down on the latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.